My name is NikolajWeber. I'm working for Polis, the Austrian Center for Citizenship Education in Schools. And today's presentation will be focusing on an Erasmus Plus project that we took part in the last 3 years, which was about bringing citizenship education into schools based on a whole school approach. And we have created some guidelines and a toolbox, which I will present momentarily, and I will share with you also the link. So it's an open source document that is available for everybody who would like to read it, and we hope that it's helpful and interesting for you. So as you can see, yes, we created, this is a PDF of the document that we created, or the toolkit. Democracy at School, Guidelines and Toolbox for a Whole School Approach in Citizenship Education. It was an outcome of a Erasmus Plus project called CityCed, Empowerment for Citizenship Education. And some outcomes of this project were, amongst other things, some teacher trainings that we developed, a teacher's competence framework for citizenship education, and the whole school approach toolkit. And we believe at Polis that introducing citizenship education in schools is much more effective if it is done in a whole school approach. So what does this mean? We think it's important to engage the local community of stakeholders when introducing citizenship education in schools, and undertaking a systemic approach. So really, not maybe going away from this more traditional thinking that citizenship education is a subject to be taught in schools in this more traditional manner of frontal education, where the teacher who has all the knowledge is sharing some information with the learners. We believe it's important to transition to a different approach where democracy is not only something we teach in form of information, but also something that is being practiced. So to involve teachers in democratic decision-making processes in schools, or to involve the students in democratic decision-making processes in schools, to involve the parents, to involve the communities around the schools, and to really undertake a democratic transformation at the school, and to see the school as like a nucleus within a dynamic community. So this toolkit was first validated by 4 schools, and then after the feedback that we received from these schools, it was proposed and implemented in 22 schools around Europe in different countries of the different partners. And so when we speak of a whole school approach, we are referring to the definition of the European Commission. So the way the European Commission defines the whole school approach is undertaking an ecological way of viewing the school. The school is seen, according to the European Commission, as a multidimensional and interactive system that can learn and change, an open learning hub which provides support to its environment and receives support from the community. And for this, we think the cyclical model of implementing a whole school approach is very useful. So I will just switch to the corresponding page in the toolkit so I can show you this. I will send you the link of the toolkit in the end of the presentation, and you can download it for free. So we think this cyclical model is very useful when trying to implement citizenship education in a whole school approach. And so in the beginning, one can start with a situation analysis. So identifying how far are principles of democracy and human rights already integrated into school life, maybe looking at the resources, challenges, strengths, and weaknesses in the school, maybe evaluating how much participation of different stakeholders is already possible at this school. And for this, we also developed some tools which are also in the toolkit. For example, some questionnaires and some and different tools that can be used for creating this like introductory situation analysis. And then once one has defined at which level the school is already situated, for example, maybe one can consider or one can take note that the school already has maybe some democratic principles implemented. Then based on this, one can continue to step 2, where an action plan together with the different stakeholders can be developed. One can identify the different resources available, potential areas of change, and then develop an action plan together. Once this has been done, one can continue to step 3, which is the more practical part, implementing the action plan. And this is really where one can go into practice, one can involve the school community, one can make some documentations and monitorings of the different implementations that are being done. And this also enables the people that are responsible to keep all the objectives in view. And then at a certain point, one can evaluate the progress and impact of the work done. So this would be step 4. And in this self-evaluation phase, the school can assess its own educational performance. And we think it's also important that all key players are involved and it's a collective process. And in the end of this cyclical model, which is actually never the end because it's cyclical, so it's the next step, and one can do a reflection of the lessons learned. And this can be shared within all the amongst all the stakeholders. Feedback can be collected. Dissemination of good practices can be done. And then further actions can be planned accordingly, which would already take us back to step number 1. And then the cyclical model can be started from the beginning. So it's an ongoing process. So we think this is one important aspect of the toolkit that I wanted to highlight. We also are working on basis of the RFCDC. I'm not sure if this is already something which is known to everybody in this event. So the RFCDC is the reference framework of competences for democratic culture developed by the Council of Europe. And yes, we have taken different implementation models from the RFCDC, especially from the volume 3, because we find it very valuable what the Council of Europe has developed. Another thing I wanted to maybe present to you briefly of this toolkit is the toolbox. So we have collected a series of tools for different tasks, one can say maybe. So tools for supporting schools in developing their own action plan, examples of inspiring school projects and activities for citizenship education, and examples of self-reflection tools, all of which can be found in many different languages. I will just scroll through it so I can give you a short impression what this looks like. So you can see we created a table where we have noted for which stakeholder the tool is relevant. Then you can find the name of the tool and the link to the tool and a short description, and on the right column, the language in which the tool can be found. And this is very diverse. We have many different tools with in many different languages. So it's also worth just looking into this toolbox because we think we found here many tools that are can be very interesting when one is interested in implementing or developing citizenship education at school. Yeah, we also developed some key recommendations for stakeholders. So I will go down to the corresponding page just to show you. So for different stakeholders, we developed different recommendations. So we think it's important to address all stakeholders. the school governing bodies, the teachers, the students, the parents, the community. And this is also interesting, for example, if you're a teacher, to look into this, because maybe we have something here that is of value to you. We also developed some questionnaires that I want to show you briefly. Also divided by stakeholder. This is a helpful tool if one wants to assess the initial situation at a school, for example, to maybe to measure or to qualify how participatory is a school, or which democratic instruments are already being used at a school. And we develop different questionnaires for the different stakeholders. So this is also at your disposal if you would like to take a look. And we finish the toolkit with some reflection impulses that I want to show you. These are based on also on the RFCDC model, the butterfly model, and these can be used for the further development of competences for a democratic culture at schools. So we think the butterfly model is very well made. If it's not known to you yet, it's also worth taking a look at. It's a very useful tool and model. And we developed some reflection impulses that can be used together with this model. Yeah, so this was just a very brief presentation of this project and of this toolkit. If you want to download it, it's available in English, German, Italian, and French. If you want to take a look, you're very welcome. And thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Nikolaj. It was very interesting description of the toolkit that you prepared. And what is good that it focuses different actors. We are talking about teachers, head of the schools, learners, students, but also parents, because I mean, we need to involve all of them in participation or participatory processes. Thank you for the links. We have here a link to the site of the program and then to the toolkit, right, Nikolaj? If there are any questions, you can directly ask them right now in the chat, or we have now 5-10 minutes. If you have any questions, then okay. Just you have 2 minutes if you have any questions to send them to the chat. My question, Nikolaj, when you were preparing the toolbox, okay, partners from what countries did you have? I mean, what countries participated here?
Yes, Brussels, Austria, Germany, Italy, France. Sorry, not Brussels, of course, Belgium. The organization was based in Brussels. So Belgium, Italy, France, Germany, Austria, and Malta.
Yeah, very wide consortium. Anything when we talk about challenges in different countries, what can you say? Do we have the common challenges everywhere, or there are some peculiarities, let's say, in different countries?
Oh, this is a very broad question. I will try to answer briefly, maybe based on my experience. We have very different understandings of citizenship education and definitions in different countries, based on the different specific cultural environments and histories of the different countries. So we see, for example, that the German-speaking area, so Germany, Austria, Switzerland is a little bit of a different case, have a very unique understanding of citizenship education based on the experience of the Second World War, where we have a strong emphasis of, maybe you can call it like non-ideology. So really trying to emphasize the free development of thoughts in learners. And this is not so pronounced in other countries. Maybe to give a different example, in France, we have citizenship education, which is very much based on the so-called values of the nation. And this is an idea which is still coming from the French Revolution. And we see here, so the German perspective on this type of citizenship education would be seen as mm, maybe just in quotation marks a soft form of influencing the learners. But this is just a different cultural historical context. So this is maybe just to show that there are some national differences. Um, yeah, maybe that's the short version of the answer. I hope it answers your question.